Hello, my name is Zach Moore, and I'm a Master's of Biology student at Grand Canyon University. Today I would like to talk to you about stem cell lung therapy and the potential benefits it has for those that have any type of lung problem. Um, and so here are our objectives for the day. Um, I hope that you learn why researching lung treatment options is important, the need that there is out there for other options based on the results that we have from the treatment options that we have currently. I also want to show you some results from stem cell therapy for lungs, some clinical trials that have been performed, as well as information from those who were involved. I also want you to get the general understanding of how stem cell therapy is done for those lung patients, how the stem cells are extracted, where they came from, and so we'll go ahead and get into that. So first I want us to see the need. There are many different lung diseases that affect all kinds of different people all over the world. There are young people that have different types of lung diseases. There are elderly people that have different types of lung diseases, and anyone in between. Of course, there are many different causes for lung issues. And then the fact that stem cell lung therapy and even regeneration may save lives of countless people in the future. Definitely something to look into. According to the American Lung Association, there are 45 different lung diseases that they recognize. These include everything from just a small cough to cancer. Now, of course, a small cough is not going to be treated with stem cell lung therapy, but sometimes that cough can lead to other things or could be a symptom of more serious issues. So there's three types of lung diseases. The first one is an airway disease. Airway diseases are often like, some examples of those are asthma or COPD, any chronic lung disease where it affects the person's breathing, makes it hard to breathe, makes it hard to take in oxygen. That would be an airway disease. There's also lung tissue diseases. That usually affects the structure of the lung. There could be scarring due to these lung tissue diseases that make it maybe not function properly the way that it should. But then there's also lung circulation diseases. This affects the blood vessels that go throughout the lungs. Sometimes it could cause clotting. They could even cause inflammation of the lungs, which of course would make it a little bit more difficult to breathe. So those are the three main types of lung diseases, and there's all kinds of different ones that would fall under these categories. So different options. Of course, there is the option of a lung transplant. Many people have had this done before, and sometimes it can be the only option in end-stage respiratory diseases, but success rates for lung transplants are lower than other organ transplants in general. Also less successful, with about 5.8 year life expectancy. So that means after a lung transplant, on average, that recipient lives 5.8 years or so. Also, with lung transplants, there's a high chance of chronic lung allograft dysfunction. That occurs in about 50% of patients. What that is for some reason the transplanted lung does not achieve normal function. Oftentimes it ends up having airway restriction, airflow restriction, so it's not really helping that patient breathe. Or it could even have rejection of the lung due to the chronic lung allograft dysfunction. So there are many issues with lung transplants, which is one of the main reasons why researchers have looked into stem cell therapy for lungs, so that we can have some options that may be a little bit more effective than a lung transplant. Another reason why we've looked into stem cell therapy is, of course, there's a shortage of available lungs for transplant. There are people that get on the waiting list for lung transplants and never receive them because they're just not that available, due to other people who may be a organ donor, but their lungs may not be suitable to be transplanted anyway. So, in stem cell therapy, different types of stem cells are used. HSCs and MSCs are used to repair damaged lungs. Of course, this is still being researched, and we've pretty much got into clinical trials. Most of the clinical trials for stem cell therapies for lungs is not FDA approved, but what happens is these stem cells, they can be extracted from embryos, bone marrow, or even blood, in the form of plasma from the patient. So, the science behind it. One article said that the MSCs are used to repair damaged lungs to radiation, due to radiation in cancer patients. Oftentimes, the radiation, if someone has lung cancer, the radiation can do damage to the lungs over time. But these MSC stem cells can turn into epithelial cells for the lung, that actually start to regenerate the lung and improve the damage that was done. These cells can have anti-inflammatory properties, which also helps the lungs to function the way that they should. MSCs are used to treat many different ailments in the lungs, as you can see from the picture. The blue cells in the middle, those are representative of a mesenchymal cell, and then it shows many different things that they're used for, or could possibly be used for, to treat different types of lung diseases. So, pretty important stuff there. The Lung Institute in Florida did clinical trials in 2017 to treat chronic lung disease using stem cells. What they did was platelet-rich plasma was extracted from either their bone marrow or blood, and then cultured for stem cells and re-injected in that same day. They thought it was important to do this all in one day. They didn't want this procedure to take a long time. So they went in, took either bone marrow or blood to get the plasma. Most of the patients picked to get blood extracted, mainly because I believe it's much more painful for bone marrow extraction. Of those 207 people who participated, the vast majority of them had blood drawn. Only 147 people finished the trial, which means they reported back in after 3 and 6 months to talk about their how they felt moving forward, how they recovered, if they had any change in lung function over those months. I did not see any results for the long term. Most people reported back after 3 and 6 months, but after that, nothing else was in the report from the Lung Institute, which was a problem. It's hard to tell what these people had to do over a long period of time, and how they felt, because there was no results there. But I did have an interview with a patient. Mary Jones was a patient of stem cell lung therapy at the Lung Institute in Franklin, Tennessee in June of 2016. So it's at a different place, but the same people practically who are doing the the research in Florida. Same institute, just their branch in Franklin, Tennessee. She was treated to improve lung function from COPD. I will say that she added that the cost for the treatment was about $8,000. She reports that her and others that are seen by her lung doctor, they all seen improvement in lung function after they went and got the procedure done, the stem cell procedure done at the Lung Institute in Franklin. But they only seen that improvement for a year or less. She said she felt improvement for about a year, but after that, it was back to about normal and declining. The effects of the treatment just practically went away. Mary added that based on the high expense for something that's not FDA approved, that her doctor did not support the work of the Lung Institute. She practically said that her doctor felt as if they were taking advantage of people who were in desperate situations. He also told her that he believes stem cell therapy is part of the future for lung patients, those who have lung problems, that stem cell therapy eventually is going to be very useful, but that it's not quite there yet because they don't see any long-term effects from the stem cell therapy at the Lung Institute at this time. She did say she felt that eventually this is going to be an important thing for lung patients. Researchers are now studying the recellularization of decellularized lungs. What they're doing is they're taking bad cells out of a person's lungs and replacing them with induced pluripotent stem cells from that person's own tissue, similar to what I think was going on back in 2016, 2017 at the Lung Institute. This stem cell options where the patient's own stem cells are extracted to be used is more morally accepted than in cases where fetal stem cells must be used. Of course, that is a very controversial topic for many people. Therefore, not everyone would be willing to do that, but more people are willing to use their own stem cells to do that. So, in conclusion, stem cell therapy, in my opinion, has a bright future in lung regeneration. Based on the results that I've seen and heard so far, though, I believe there are some things that are missing in the formula in order for them to make a lasting impact on lung patients due to not having any results of long-lasting impacts or long-lasting results for improving lung function. If you want to know more about what's going on at the Lung Institute and what they're doing, you can visit the website at thelunginstitute.com. There's a lot of information about their stem cell research and stem cell treatment options for lungs, what exactly they're doing, and how it works. So you can always visit there. Here are my references that I used to find the information to put this PowerPoint together. And I appreciate the time that you've taken to watch this.